the Author to Author podcast series with award-winning author Pamela R. Haynes.
Welcome to the podcast.
Dalgety Herbal Teas produce 100% natural high-quality organic teas using only the best ingredients. Available now from all major supermarkets, or please visit our website at dalgety.co. Dalgety Herbal Teas.
Hello there, lovely listeners. It's Pamela R. Haynes here, award-winning author of the Loving the Brothers series. Today I'm taking you back to beautiful Barbados to interview my guest, Brenda Roach, author of Reflecting and Journaling. But before we get there, I wanted to let you know that I'm drinking the Slimline Tea by Dalgety Herbal Teas in an effort to lose a few pounds before my book launch in July or August this year. Don't forget to use the discount code A2AS2 for 10% discount off of your next Dalgety tea order. The competition question follows the podcast interview, so why not enter for your opportunity to win a copy of Brenda's book? See you on the other side. Thank you so much for giving up your afternoon to have an interview with me. It's nice to finally get the opportunity to interview you. How are you doing, Brenda?
I'm good, thank you. And thanks so much for the opportunity.
I mean, tell us what have you been up to recently? What's happening in Barbados at the moment? What's the weather like?
The weather is quite rainy, so today we're getting a bit of rain going. So that might be why we were getting a little bit of the connectivity issues as well too. That could be part of it. So we're getting a bit of rain for the past couple of days, but before that it has been extremely hot. So we're glad for the rain actually.
Absolutely. So Brenda, were you born and raised in Barbados?
No, I was actually born in the UK. So I'm a British citizen, yeah. But we've lived in Barbados for most of my life, I would say, because we only spent like just 10, 11 years in the UK and then migrated to Barbados because I come from Caribbean parentage. So my father's Barbadian and my mother's.
Oh, your mother's St. Lucian, okay. Whereabouts in the UK did you grow up then? You spent your formative years?
Formative years, yes. So in Southgate, that's where we.
Oh, okay. That's North London, isn't it?
Yes, North London.
Okay. Do you remember much of it?
No, not really, I do have pictures and stuff like that, and we do tend to come back and visit. I think we were there up to last year before the whole shutdown and everything happened, so yeah.
And whereabouts in Barbados did you grow up?
In Barbados, we grew up, because it's me, myself and my sister, actually myself and two sisters. I have a sister who's like just 2 years younger than me, so we grew up pretty much together, and that is in St. James.
In St. James. Oh, whereabouts in St. James?
Yeah. So around Wanstead area, close to West Terrace.
Yes. There's a school there, isn't there, called West Terrace School?
Yes, called West Terrace, yes. So we didn't live far from there. We can walk to West Terrace.
Oh, okay. So whereabouts in Barbados live now?
St. Philip.
Oh, you're in St. Philip, so not far from the airport?
Not far from the airport. It could take about 15 minutes or so to get to the airport.
Okay. Which schools did you go to?
So you mean here or you mean in the UK? Okay, in Barbados, I went to St. Patrick, Roman Catholic, the primary school that I came. Once I left Martin and Porres in the UK, came straight to St. Patrick's, Roman Catholics. And then for my high school, or secondary school is what we call it here, I went to St. Mary's Lincoln. So all pretty much Catholic schools throughout.
That's right. Would you say that there was a big difference between the education you received in the UK in comparison to starting school in Barbados?
I would say yes, significantly. I think within the UK, especially in my formative years, I think that the focus more on well-being and being all together rounded. Whereas when I got to Barbados, it was like a culture shock, and it was like schoolwork was so intense and so hard. And when I came in, because I was just turned 11. So, here we have the 11 plus exam that would take you into high school and would say what high school you're going to get into. And so it was a big rush and mad scramble for me to get myself up to par so that I could take that 11 plus exam. So it was pretty hard.
What was the reason for travel? Because people tend to travel with smaller families when they can fully benefit from the education system in Barbados before taking their 11 plus, but you were right on the crust. Why go home at that time?
I'm really not sure. I'm not sure I think at the time my father, he had gotten some kind of job opportunity. And so he took the opportunity then to migrate his family back home.
I see. So describe to us what your perfect day is like.
Perfect day. I had that a couple of Saturdays ago, 2 or 3 Saturdays ago, just being at the beach for the whole day, relaxing underneath the umbrellas, reading a book. And I was actually reading Kim Ramsey's latest book, that crime book. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head right now, but that's the book I was reading when I was at the beach. So yeah, just a perfect day is just being on the beach or just being somewhere out in nature with family members, my husband or my sister and her family. So
lovely. So tell us about your books. How many do you have?
So I have two. One is a book and one is a journal.
Yes.
Right. So my book, Reflecting and Journaling Towards a Meaningful Life, I have my copy here, and I know you should have your copy as well. Right. And then the other one is my journal, my gratitude, happiness. And they both pretty much can go hand in hand, right? Because the book itself, Reflecting Towards a Meaningful Life, it takes you on a journey about my life. And how I have incorporated journaling into my life, what reflecting has done for me and my life. And so then coming out of that, I decided then to create a journal because I'm someone who always likes to, I noticed that you like to journal as well. So you have a host of different journals as well. And I always buy journals and I thought, well, why not just create one? And so that's how I got into doing the journal. But the book itself, right, it's just taking on a journey of my life and how I pause and I reflect and how that has helped me.
Did you find the writing process?
I did actually. It didn't take me long to write it. Obviously, the book is not that huge. It's not big, but it was about my life. And it was easy to put it out on paper, actually. And when I first did it, I think it took me about 2 weeks to do the full thing. And then I let my husband read part of it. And he was like, you finished this already? And I said, yes. And I was like, do you think it's something that someone would read, that people would want to read? And he said, yes. And so then I said, okay, well then let's get it published. And that was that.
Tell us about the publishing process. Who published the book for you?
Sure. So I did the Amazon self-publishing. I can't remember how I found out about that. Oh, a girlfriend of mine told me about it. And so I said, let me do some research on it and how easy it is to do, how not to do. And I did some research and I went onto the KDP format and I was able to upload the manuscript. And then I just had to look for a cover. And so then I had a graphic artist who worked with me to come up with a cover that I liked. And the rest is history.
Congratulations. And thank you for gifting us 2 copies of the first book and a copy of the journal as well. I've already been able to pass that journal on to someone who was struggling with life, who has made use of the journal. And I'm looking forward to giving away a copy for the competition listening as well. So that would be just wonderful. But how do you maintain a spirit of gratitude, not just throughout the pandemic, but in general?
In general. And thanks so much for gifting the journal to someone who needed it. Gratitude. I would say I started my gratitude journey seriously about 2.5 to 3 years ago, right? I always consider myself to be a happy child. I always call myself a happy child. But I think gratitude seriously started for me around, about 2.5 years. And for me, it's consistency. So it's how I start my day. If I don't start my day with gratitude, then the day doesn't go quite well. In other words, I'm not able to round and notice and appreciate the things around me that I can be grateful. And so I start doing it every single morning. I've started posting it on my Instagram pages and stuff like that as well. And people seem to find it quite useful for them as well, because it's easier for them to look at someone else, see what they are grateful for, and see maybe if there's something in their lives that can help them along as well. And I find it changes your whole mindset. It helps you to be more focused on the here and now, so you're more present. I find it helps you to be more uplifting, in a more uplifting mood. So you're not as down as, even though things may not be going well, you're not as down in the dumps, best term to use, because you're more grateful for what you have.
So what kind of rituals do you do to demonstrate or to show gratitude? First thing in the morning, when you rise, you open your eyes, what are the kind of activities that you do?
Sure. So I'm an early riser, 4:30 in the morning for me. That's Monday to Friday. Saturdays and Sundays a bit different. Yes, that's me, 4:30 in the morning. And for me, it's okay, when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I get up and I come down and I have my cup. I need to have my cup. And I love that time in the morning because everywhere is so quiet. Outside is dark. You can hear everything that's happening outside, whether it is that you're hearing that the dog started to rustle and wake up in the morning, or it's the crisp morning air feel. And it's just so refreshing. It helps me to feel as though this is a brand new day. Whatever happened yesterday, I can leave it behind and I can just sit and have my cup of tea in peace and quiet. So it's like the first half an hour of my day. That's how I start, 4 to 5. That's where I am just in that state of Zen for me, where I can sit, have my cup of tea and just be. And then I can then reflect, see what I maybe have in store for the day, or reflect on what happened yesterday and see and identify if things did go how I wanted them to go yesterday, if there are things that I could probably change for today, or if everything went well and I'm just happy.
So it's a choice, isn't it? That you're making a conscious choice to reflect, a time of reflection as well at that hour of the morning, but also a conscious decision to be grateful for what you have.
Yes, it is a choice. Like you said, it is a choice. Because, I mean, we could really focus in all the things that haven't gone well, couldn't we? But then where does that get us? Right? Then we don't feel motivated to move on and continue on with our day or move forward with goals or plans that we have for the future.
So the other thing obviously I follow you on Instagram. That's how I found you in the first place. But I also found you not really through the gratitude stuff, but it was through your exercise and your regime that you follow as well. Is that another activity that you do first thing in the morning?
Yes, it is. So it's not at 4:30 because that's my time, 4:30 to 5. But then, and of recent, my husband and I have actually started walking together from 5 o'clock in the morning, because we have a curfew in Barbados going on right now from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. So at 5 o'clock in the morning, then we get up and we go for a walk through the neighborhood. And then, just to get your body moving. And exercise is always a great way for you to lift your mood, raise your spirits, make you feel better about what's happening. And I especially love it when we do it in the morning at that time, because again, the crisp air, you can hear the birds waking up, you can hear the cocks. When you look around, I can see the cows still lying down. They're not up yet fully, but they're awake. And it's just a wonderful time in the morning to be outside and enjoying the outdoors. Hardly anybody's out on the road except other walkers maybe who may be exercising. But yes, I love to get my body moving. And prior to that, it was, like you said, the exercise regime where I was doing a workout with Wake Up to Workout. And that is a home style workout kind of exercise that was going on. And that's a good way to do your exercise as well. I'm not one for the gym. So for me, I like to do my workouts at home wherever possible. And so that works for me.
Okay, but earlier you were saying that you've always been quite self-motivated to demonstrate gratitude. But what advice would you give who things are really dire, just come through a pandemic? A lot of people in the UK were furloughed. And I know that things were even more dire in Barbados as well with the loss of the tourist industry. What advice would you give to people who are in a hole, who, are finding it difficult to get back to their normal selves?
That's a really good question. And what I usually tell my clients, especially, is to start small. It doesn't have to be this big, grandiose thing. Yes, you have goals in mind for yourself. You may have created a vision for what this year should have been. But you know what? Right now, you're alive and you're well. What in this moment, in this space, can we do to just maybe move you along just a little further? So I do have my clients practice gratitude. I do have my clients begin to journal. And most of them, when I give them a journal, because I usually give them a journal in session, they look at me like, what do you want me to do with this? But again, what I say to them is, if you keep doing the same thing that you're doing and you realize nothing is happening, right? Don't you think it's time to change and try something different? And when you begin to journal, it is not as though I'm telling you to write out all your deepest, darkest secrets. Of course, safety and security is something important to people as well. They don't want people finding their journal, read and stuff like that. So I always give them some prompts, that they can begin with. And I keep telling them there's no pressure. Even if you miss a day, that's okay. You may miss 3 days in a row. That's okay too. But you can start again, because every day is a brand new day. And so even when we're in a rut, it's always to try to do something different as opposed to what we have been doing, because we realize that what we have been doing is not working. So why not try something else?
It's very good to hear that you have clients, that people are coming forward to have sessions with you, because there is this stigma, you would have heard this narrative about being a strong Black woman, or, Black men don't experience that. They've got to man up, and those kind of comments, which are really unhelpful. So I'm encouraged to hear that Barbadians are coming to you for counselling, for one-to-ones and so on. Tell us about the kind of activity you would do with them on a one-to-one. And I take it that these are now delivered online or in person. What's the current state in Barbados?
So the current state is both. I'm back in office, and clients, there are some of my to come face. They prefer to have that space where they can have that time for them. And so I encourage them to do that. Of course, we have all the safety protocols in place, masks and stuff. So at first I was thinking it's going to be weird or difficult for you to see facial expressions enough and that kind of thing when you're in a face-to-face modality in the office. But it actually works out pretty well. I have my clients come in and they come and they see me, and we go through and we explore maybe whatever it is that's happening with them at any point in time. Yes, we do activities. So for instance, grounding is one of my favorite activities that I like to do with something that I do for myself as well. And that's a simple thing that we can do in office. And it's simply just looking around, noticing, and being aware of your environment to help shut off the mind a bit. We get so busy and get caught up and get wrapped up in things that are happening every single day around us, right? And our minds are always going. And sometimes we can't seem to shut it off. So What I do is we practice some grounding. And that simply is a 5-4-3-2-1 model, where it's 5 things that you can see. So you look around in the office and you look and see and focusing on 5 things and then it's 4 things that you can hear. So what can you hear? You're zoning into these things. And while you're doing that, you realize that your mind begins to quiet, right? Because you're so focused and you're present now in the moment, that you get to zone in and focus on these things. And when my clients start to feel frustrated or angry or upset or even get anxious, I ask them to practice this model because it is helpful. It's 3 things that you can, so I did 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things that you can feel. And that can be simply feeling the chair that you're sitting down in. Is it rough? Feeling the wall. We have charred plastic on our walls, and sometimes the charred plastic can be rough in texture. See how it feels. Maybe it's your clothes. Do they feel warm? Do they feel soft? So 3 things that you can feel. It is 2 things that you can smell. If you're at home, it's different because maybe you can smell the neighbors cooking or anything like that. Maybe if you're outside of the office, you can smell the air and what it smells like, maybe, right? Like that. Or if you're in the office, maybe you can smell something that smells kind of antiseptic-like because, we're in a kind of sterile environment. And then there's one thing that you can, and usually the one thing you can taste isn't something that you can always do. Sometimes if my client has a cup of water, I ask them to sip that. How does that taste? If you have a mint that you can pop into your mouth, how does that taste? Is that texture rough? Is it soft? Is it smooth? Is it hot?
Oh, that's just wonderful, wonderful advice. I may try that exercise myself. So thank you for that.
Yes, it's so helpful.
Tell us about your qualifications then, and what is it that you practice, and where is your office?
Sure. So, I have a bachelor's degree I did it with 3 minors. So it's sociology, psychology, and management. And would you believe I was actually a banker for 16 years before I actually came into being a counselling psychologist? And people always say, wow, that's a strange shift. And I didn't do my first banking and finance like everybody thought I would. And I don't know why. I don't know. I never really saw myself in psychology. I don't know, but I always did like psychology. So I'm not one of those people who had a story of I always wanted to be a psychologist. But after my position was made redundant in the bank, and so then I went back to school at the University of the West Indies, Cape Hill campus here in Barbados, and I did my master's. And then I reached out to my girlfriend whose husband is a doctor, and he's a gynecologist. And I was saying, you guys don't need a psychologist on board. And I was just throwing that question out there. It wasn't something that I was expecting to hear a yes to, but I was given a yes. And I was told yes, because we have so many hidden illnesses that society doesn't speak about, that we as women don't speak about as much. And we felt that it was important that we have someone there who women can come and talk to. So I'm actually located within a gynecological office called JRB Medical Centre, and that's located in Belleville. So that's in Bridgetown, right? So it's central, that location. And so there I would see a lot of female clients who will have gynecology. So whether it be miscarriages, whether it be termination, those types of things I see ladies for. If it is that someone has to have a surgery, I see a lady for that as well, because these types of things that happen to us females and our bodies, we don't really talk about, and we're not encouraged to talk about them, right? And so I really thought that my role there was pretty vital, because I have been through a lot of gynecological as well. And throughout those experiences, even though I had the support of my family and my husband and everyone there are a lot of women in society who don't have that. They don't have the spousal support or the significant other support. They're told, get up and keep moving. Get on with your life. Life still has to happen, right? And so that's why I'm there for that.
Yeah, I mean, even though you may have the love of and warmth and support of your family, there's something about having key professionals involved. That's their, the way that they are trained to ask certain questions to get to the bottom of what the issues might be. So it's good to know that you're placed in the right setting for that to happen. So thank you for sharing that. Now, I know that you are a regular guest on Morning Barbados. So how did that opportunity come about?
So that was interesting. That came about through my private practice where I am at JRB Medical Centre. So they were thinking, let's do some series on the kind of services that we offer. They said, well, let's get Brenda on and let's get her talking a bit about, the psychological impacts of having fibroids or endometriosis, those types of conditions. And so that's how that really started. At first, I was very nervous and I was very anxious, because I'm like, why are you putting me on the TV? I don't know about this TV thing. But it grew on me. And so that's how it started. And then it has pretty much continued till I think it's early up this year that Morning Barbados actually reached out to me then and asked if I would come on and talk a bit about the pandemic and stuff that's been happening. And then I went on to talk about some stuff like that. So that's how it really started.
And thank you so much for putting me in touch with the program. So I really want to publicly thank you for that. Pearson Bowen is a fantastic interviewer as well, really puts you at your ease.
Yes.
And, I would describe you as someone who's part of the team, really, because you're on the show quite frequently. So,
and I did enjoy your segment too. Your segment was very good.
Oh, thank you very much. So in terms of other opportunities that may come up for you this year, have you got anything in the pipeline?
So far, I've been interviewed quite a bit this year, which is new for me because usually I do a lot of the interviewing, but I'm welcoming the experiences. I have something to do with pregnancy and females and how the female body and the psychological impact of that in terms of pregnancy. I have that coming up on Monday night. That's an interview with a new Wellness Barbados, and that's on IG. And then I have the same JRB Medical Centre where I work with the team there. So we have a gynecological kind of conference.
What would you say, now that you're a published author, has been your proudest moment to date?
I think publishing my book was the proudest thing for me. I always wanted to write a book. So I was one of those. I always wanted to write a book, but I couldn't figure out what would I write this book on. And so when I actually put pen to paper and wrote about my life, I think that was one of my proudest moments, to be so open and vulnerable about myself, to the world, because it's not just to Barbados, it's really to the world because it's on Amazon, right? So it's to everyone. And so I think that was a proud moment for me, being able to stand in my truth and to be able to share my truth with the world in the hopes that it will help someone else.
And how has your book been received, home and abroad?
I think it's been very well received. I've been overwhelmed with how well received it has been. It was interesting. At first, I was thinking, okay, I may not get that many sales, but then it wasn't really about the sales. It was about making sure that people can reflect on their lives and take a journey for themselves. And so I think that was the most important thing for me. And I think that Barbadians are gradually coming around into reflecting, gradually coming around in terms of counselling as well. So yeah, it's a whole new world out there.
I mean, that's fantastic. Do you think there's another book in you, Brenda?
That's a good question. I know there's another journal in me. I'm not sure if there's another book yet, but there probably is.
So when you dream about success for your book, what does success look like?
Success for my book, what does that look like? So it looks like getting out into more bookstores. It looks like maybe trying to do more promotions. As it stands right now, I don't think I promote it enough. And I could really take a leaf out of your book in terms of that, in terms of promoting and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what it would look like in terms of success. Maybe having some banners done, in terms of promotions and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what success for my book looked like. I wouldn't mind a book tour, but I don't know where I would start with that. So that's another thing.
Yeah, you could have one. I think when we had, what was the name of the initiative that Mia Motley had that celebrates every parish, but it didn't go very well because it started during the pandemic. You could do an event in every parish, I suppose, in terms of getting awareness out there that the book actually exists. Or maybe something through the University of the West Indies. I could see you easily becoming a lecturer or a guest lecturer at one of the universities. And, why play small? You've got the whole of the Caribbean to promote your book to as well, because there are similar issues in every Caribbean island where women are told just to put up and shut up and not really get the professional help that they need in overcoming either medical problems or psychological problems. So I could definitely see a future throughout the Caribbean with you and your book.
Thank you for those suggestions. I do like it. I love it. Yeah, good suggestions. I will take those and write them down so that I can decide when I would start and how I would start.
So when you're not writing, how do you spend your time? How do you relax?
So when I'm not writing, I like to travel. Pandemic has shut that down somewhat, but not too much because we were able to travel earlier before the lockdowns and everything last year. And then we're hoping to get back into it towards the ending of this year. So I love to travel. That's how I relax. I like to explore see how people live within their societies and explore that. I love to explore nature. So I do like nature. I'm not one for camping, but I like the outdoorsy stuff. So even here in Barbados, began doing a lot of different things in terms of like horseback riding and hiking through like forests and stuff, and just becoming more aware and in tune with the outside world. It also helps you to be more aware and in tune with your body as well, and to help you to decompress and relax as well, kayaking and that kind of. So I love to read. Reading is one of my favorite hobbies, favorite pastimes to do.
Well, what are you reading at the moment?
Oh, right. So remember, I did identify I was reading Kim Ramsey's latest book. So that's the last book I've been reading. Yeah, I'm looking forward to your book when it comes. I'm hoping it's coming soon because Loving the Brothers was really awesome. And I just can't wait to get into the next episode of that.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully it's coming soon. So what are your views about Barbados becoming a republic?
So I think it will be good for us, Barbados, being on our own, so to speak, in terms of having our own representation as head of state. So someone who's not the Queen, especially if it's a local person, that would be good. I would like that the separation is an amicable one because like we were mentioning before, tourism is our mainstay. That's how we make our money. And so if the separation is not an amicable one, then what would that do to us in terms of UK travelers and tourists coming into Barbados, right? That would really be detrimental to us. So I would like that the separation is amicable. I don't know, does it mean that we have to change all the names? Because we have so many roads, for instance, that are from British origin. So Queen Victoria Road and Prince Henry William Street and all those types of names that we have. The Royal Barbados Police Force and those types of. So will those change? I'm not sure. It'll be different. It's something new. I have no problem with it. But again, we have to do it. We have to do it in a proper manner so that, we make sure that we are not kicking ourselves in the foot as we do it. Pretty much like, with you guys and Brexit, I'm not sure how that is working out, if it's working out amicably or not.
That's another story. And I don't have another hour to go into all of that. But if you follow the news, you will see some of the issues that we're having in terms of having enough migrant workers to come into UK to be able to manage our farming industry has been a huge one. And lack of, HGV drivers who make deliveries, and so on. And I have certainly noticed that some of the supermarket shelves have been bare as well in terms of not being able to get certain items in. So as Barbados relies quite heavily on imported goods, that would those trade agreements would have to be in place to make sure that Barbados is able to feed themselves or develop our own cultivation agriculture in Barbados, where we're able to produce some of our own food. So they are the kind of issues that I've seen since we went through Brexit. They are some of the issues that I see manifesting as well. And obviously nobody predicted the pandemic. If Barbados did, or when Barbados a republic, did you have somebody in mind who you would like to see as head of state?
Not really, no. I didn't really have anybody in mind. I think right now they're thinking about the Governor General, our current Governor General. I think she would make an awesome head of state. I really do. I love to see her. She is so classy and stylish in just how she holds herself, in her mannerisms, in how she speaks. But I really didn't have anyone in my mind.
Okay, so then that's a perfect answer. I didn't want to hear Rihanna or Alison Hines.
No, please.
So, are you ready for the quick fire round?
Sure, hit me.
Okay, soca or reggae?
Reggae.
Beach or city?
Beach.
Aki or dunks?
Dunks.
Reading or writing?
Reading.
Flying fish or fish cakes?
Flying fish, definitely.
Country or town?
Country.
Fiction or non-fiction?
Fiction.
Reggae lounge or the boatyard?
Reggae.
Okay. Do you have a favorite artist?
I love Taurus Riley. He's one of my favorites. I love his music.
Yeah, and I think when we last spoke, you were into Buju Banton for a while, or was that just that particular track?
I loved I love that track. But he also had that album Until Shiloh was one of his first albums. That was a phenomenal album. So yeah, I do love Buju.
So what has your family made of your success?
Oh, they've been so supportive and wonderful. They're one of the first people who would have bought my books, both the book and the journal. So they were one of the first. And they always promote it. Whatever they're doing, they promote it all the way. So I appreciate them so much for their support and their encouragement every step of the way. I mean, even when I was doing my master's program, some of them I would be crying to and everything, and they would have been right there along with me. So when I was graduating, all of them had to come. You only allow 2 tickets to invite two family members, but I had about 10 because I had to come and I had to bring all of them and just celebrate with them.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And it's a wonderful experience when you can bring people along on that part of your journey as well, not just the bit when things are going haywire, but when you're successful. So when you are successful, it's nice to have them celebrate with you as well. Brenda, I cannot believe definitely. that we have come to the end of our interview already.
Already?
Yep. Thank you so much for taking part in the Author podcast. And no doubt we'll stay in touch because I still see you on social media. If you decide to write another journal, I would love to have you back on the show to talk about your new book. So please promise me that you'll come back then. And bye for now.
Sure, I will definitely. Bye. Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed listening to my interview with Brenda Roach. It's competition time now. Can you tell me what is Brenda's occupation? If you know the right answer, why not contact me on Instagram at Loving the Brothers Author with the correct answer for your opportunity to win a copy of her book, Reflecting and Journaling. All the very best and bye for now.
Please join Pamela R. Haynes for another Author to Author podcast coming soon.